Hello, good afternoon to everybody. This
Good
is
afternoon.
Jose. Hi, Marcin. How are you doing?
Hello, Jose. Going good, going great. Very glad to hear that. So
Yeah.
we can definitely kick off.
Yes, we can. So I'm happy to be here with you today. So first minutes, we'll do a quick presentation of what we're going to do today and who we are. So me, who I'm speaking, I am Jose Antonio Gonzalez, also known as just Pepe, as people call me. I am the Director of Transformation in TecnoFor. And here with me, I am glad to be accompanied by Maciej Wojtkowski, live from Warsaw, who is a client success manager for BigPicture, for Affire's BigPicture. That's right, Marcin?
Absolutely 100% correct.
Okay, so in today's session, okay, we will be speaking in English, as you can see, because okay, this is an international meeting. So the purpose today is to speak about what we call SAFe for Jira. It is a solution intended to help people with Jira's implementation, and it is based on a few pieces of software, but mainly Jira software. And there's a very special add-on for Jira, which is Appfire's Big Picture. And so that's why Masin is here with me, because he will give a lot of details on how Big Picture works, and he will be able to answer to any of the doubts you might have regarding or concerning Big Picture. Okay. So, okay, so speaking about, okay, it's better that Masin, can we have uh, more news from you? Who are you, and what's your
Okay. Yeah.
background? And then I will present myself. I was going to speak first about me, but it's not a good thing to do so. So
Absolutely. Thank
you
you
go
very much
first.
for that. Okay. Okay. So, well, first things, hello, welcome everybody. Welcome to this webinar. Very glad to be here. Jose or Pepe introduced me briefly. I'm currently a client success manager at Big Picture from Appfire. My background, I've spent almost 20 years working for multinational companies, mainly in oil and retail industries. Vast majority of roles, very different ones, starting from supply chain through retail sales, also some project management, and this is where my current skills kick in. So I kind of evolved. I moved into the software business. I was a client success manager for a software company for the last 5 years, and for a little bit more than 2 years right now, I'm with Big Picture in the pretty same role. Helping our clients, helping our customers to get to learn how to use Big Picture in as quickly as possible, as easy as possible. Learn the functionalities, find the functionalities which fit their purposes, which fit their needs, and maybe sometimes to discover some new, more clever ways of working.
That's very good. Thank you for your elevator pitch. And yeah, that's why it's so valuable to be here with you today. So thank you, Marcin. So for those who don't know me, I am Pepe. I am, as I said, the director of transformation in TecnoFor. I used to be a computer engineer, computer scientist. I stopped being a computer engineer, let's say, about 10 years ago. I started trying to change the way that organizations work. So I started being an agile coach or scrum master. Um, and I did it professionally in several consultancy companies. And since I met Alexander Mensinski many years ago, I became SAFe program consultant, SAFe practice consultant now, and I am a specialist in SAFe. And I also work for TecnoFor, who are also we are also highly specialized in Atlassian solutions. So that's why I am here, because I know about SAFe and I know a little bit about Jira, but enough to present why SAFe for Jira is a pragmatic, a good solution for your needs. So we will review the agenda very quick. I will be speaking, let's say, more or less for half an hour, 30 minutes. And I will try to give Marcin more or less the same amount of time, maybe a little less, but the same amount of time. While if you don't know this tool, our Meet, this is not like Zoom. Let's say you cannot just open your video and directly speak with us, but you do have a chat, and you do have a Q&A section that we will use at the end. Let's say in an hour, we will use this Q&A section to answer any doubts or anything you would like to know about the SAFe for Jira or BigPicture. Okay, so please do not write questions in the chat. Use the Q&A section. On the right part of your screen, you will find the Q&A section, and you will be able to write anything that you would like to ask us. Once we are in this final questions section, we can invite any of you to the stage, so then you will be able to express yourself talking directly with us. But Santi, our colleague from TecnoFor, will be taking you to the stage for whoever would like to speak with us. Um, okay, and that's all. No more things to be said for this introduction, and then I will share my screen with the presentation, and we will start with this presentation. Okay, so let me check if this is the present. Share screen, whole screen, screen number 2. Okay, that's it. I guess you can already see my screen, right, Marcin?
Yep.
Okay, so I will start with accelerate safe deployment with SAFe for Jira. Okay, this is the idea, SAFe for Jira. Um, So if you have some interest in this webinar, if you're interested, I guess it's because you are somehow involved in safe implementation by any means. So the question here is, do you want to implement safe? Uh, I said Jira, I meant safe, okay? Eh, do you want to implement safe? You are involved in safe implementation. Okay, so use your Jira well. This is the key message, okay? Because if you have already tried to follow all the implementation roadmap, uh, you know you will be starting by the creating delays, the Lean Agile Center of Excellence, train everyone, finding out your value streams, preparing for train execution, a lot of things to be done. So the idea is that you know that SAFe can do a lot of things for you, but you shouldn't be concerned and wasting your time and your energy with your management tool. So this is the key idea, okay? This is what SAFe for Jira is, okay? And the idea today, I cannot, I hope you know a little bit about SAFe, because otherwise you will not be following my explanations, because I will be speaking about how uh, SAFe works in a chronological order. So you know that Jira, SAFe, let's say the heartbeat of SAFe is the PI planning. This is where everything starts. It's like sprint planning, but at a train level, let's say at teams of teams level. So there's something that happens before PI planning. You need to be prepared for PA planning. Then PA planning happens, and then execution starts. And for a lot of iterations, you are doing execution. Okay, so this is what we are going to see today. This is this chronological order. We are following this chronological order. And but what is SAFe for Jira? What is this a tool? Uh, because Jira is already a tool, BigPicture is a tool. So what the hell is SAFe for Jira? Okay, all the for Jira solutions that we have in TecnoFor are somehow you can see them as accelerators. Okay, these are configurations that are already preset. We install them, and then everything goes faster. Okay, this is the key idea. So um, we do have small pieces of software that have been developed by TecnoFor, some add-ons. We have the Mr. Add-on Mark that, for instance, we use this Kanban combined with that you can find um, in the Atlassian market. Okay, but mainly what we use is Jira and also Confluence. Not only Jira, we use also Confluence to document uh, several things. We use automation. We use, of course, BigPicture. We use this Kanban combined with and yeah, a few more add-ons. But the idea is that we mix also our knowledge of we have about SAFe and also about Jira and our experience working with customers and trying to follow what they need. Okay, so I said before this is a pragmatic solution, and I am repeating this because if you are already an expert in SAFe, maybe when I am going to tell you all the things that we are going to do during PA planning readiness or while preparing for PA planning during the execution of PA planning uh, and afterwards the execution of the PI itself, maybe you can find that there are several things that are not still in place. For instance, we didn't pay too much attention to yet in this solution to the portfolio layer, but this is not where you will start if you are starting with a implementation of SAFe. So this is a pragmatic solution. You can add afterwards a lot more things. But this is, let's say, this is the uh, an MVP, a very complete MVP that definitely will allow you to start with no concerns during implementation, and you can start working with trains and not losing any detail of your implementations. That is your main concern, and not the tool. Okay, so this is the idea. Okay, so what do we do? What do we need when we are preparing for PA planning? Okay, of course, I assume that a lot of previous steps have already been done when you reach this point. So you have already done some training. You have went through the creation of the Lean Agile Center of Excellence. You have went through many steps. You have done this. Um, Identification of value streams, and now you have an agile release train. Okay, and once you have this, you have several roles. You have your product managers that need to start writing what the features are going to be. What do the train needs to implement to build a solution? Okay, so this is what happens uh, before PA planning. Okay, so people need to know what they are working on. You already know that one of the the big ideas in SAFe is that it's about cadence and synchronization, but also with alignment. So if you already know how PA planning works, you know that we always start with the product vision and business context. But before PA planning, this need to be worked out. Okay, you need to work with the executives. Okay, when you are creating a portfolio, what is the value of this value stream? What is the solution we are creating? Okay, what's the vision for our solution? This has to be worked out before we start. Of course, in your company, you will have some guidelines, some architecture uh, guidelines or engineering guidelines or standards that should apply when creating software. Okay, so you need to gather all this information regarding the creation of the product vision and business context, and also the architecture and and the standards. All of this documentation should be created or gathered and put together uh, in a place where everybody can consult, can access quickly to this information. Okay, so I, I am doing spoiler to myself, but this should be in Confluence. Okay, because this is static information that you gather before you start. And what happens then? Okay, then we need to write, let's say, live items. Okay, we need to start writing big epics if you are implementing the portfolio layer, doing epic management. This is this part of the portfolio layer is implemented in this solution, but not all the thing regarding the funding. Okay, all the financial part is not here, but we can create epics, and we do have implemented a portfolio Kanban to manage these epics. We will see this. Um, if you have a lean portfolio management team, then they can start by using this. And at the same time, your product managers will need to start writing features, non-functional requirements. They will be collaborating with each of the teams to do this initial refinement. Teams will be figuring out how to decompose these features into user stories. And of course, for all of this, you will need a tool, okay? A live tool where you can interact. Yeah, and of course, this is Jira software. Okay, so I'm going to jump to, for the first time, to Jira. Okay, this is the screen. Okay, so to see this in order, you can see this logo is for Confluence, and this other one is Jira's logo. So um, we will be covering the first two needs using Confluence. This is what I am going to show you now. So if you need to uh, have somewhere where to place this product vision, business context, architecture, so this is what we have in Confluence. So for uh, well, we are using in this demo the Geekbooks example from Scaled Agile. If you have been taught any of the Scaled Agile courses, if you have been through a leading SAFe or implementing SAFe, maybe you already know this Geekbook example. This is a invented company, just like, let's say, competency of Amazon, and it's a bookstore, online bookstore. Okay, and we are using this also as an example for this SAFe For Jira presentation. So we are assuming that we have this train, this agile release train. Okay, and we have the first PI. Okay, and for the first PI, we have a lot of links for the PA planning and for a lot of events that will happen afterwards. But for the PI planning, okay, we can set here everything we need. The business context, okay, this is the example from the Scaled Agile courses. Okay, these are the slides used to explain this example. I will not go. I will not explain this gig books itself, but okay, this is just to show you that we do have a place where to find all the information regarding the business context or the architecture vision or any details regarding development practices. So these two first points are covered using Confluence. Okay. Okay, then we will jump to the live items, what I mentioned before, regarding how do we create epics, features. Okay, if you are already familiar with Jira, then you will already know that in any of the Jira environments. I'm sorry because this environment is not set in English. It's in Spanish, but I guess you will be able to follow my explanation no matter that. If you press this create button, okay, we set up this environment just to be able to create user stories, feature epics, risks, or even non-functional requirements that we can link to any of the features or epics where this non-functional requirement should be applied. Okay, so there's a common way to create any of the elements, no matter whether it's an epic or feature, stories, risks, or non-functional requirements. Of course, uh, depending on what item we choose, the fields will be automatically changed. Okay, to enter the appropriate data. Okay, for each of the elements. So creating any of these elements is nothing new. This is regular Jira use. Okay, so if you are already familiar with Jira, this is still no news, no different news. But if you are already familiar with Jira, you will see there's a slight difference um, with this Kanban view, because here we are showing a Kanban board together with Kanban combined with add-on, where not only we can see this is the epic board where we can follow the flow of how an epic um, okay, the all the epic life cycle. Okay, starting by the funnel, reviewing, analyzing as per SAFe's recommendations. But we have here, we can, okay, we can just have these compound blocks of this implementation where it has two sub blocks, two sub columns, MVP and persevere. You cannot do this on just a simple regular Kanban board from Jira. But if you use this Kanban combined with that, it's included with this, with SAFe For Jira, you can do this, and you can do more things. You can change colors. You can set explicit policies. You can set WIP limits. You can do a lot of more things that you can do with a regular Kanban board in Jira. Okay, so these are starting to be fresh news, good news for you. This is also used, of course, in our Kanban for Jira solution. This is where it comes from, and we imported it into SAFe For Jira solution. Okay, so we have seen so far that you can create uh, any of the items, and you can see this Kanban board for the epics. Of course, not only we have a board for the epics, but also for the features and for each of the teams' work. Okay, this is what we have in an initial setup. Okay, so uh, this is how you can be working with this refinement. Okay, before you go to PI planning, you need to create things. You need to start writing all the features, all the elements, all the needs of your customer. Okay, your customers needs is at the end of the day what you are writing, and you are splitting. Okay, okay, so you do this. This is regular Jira use. You can link epics to features. You can see how they are linked, and you can follow this decomposition of epics into decomposing epics into features and features into user stories. Okay, but then before we go to the PA planning, we do have this backlog prioritization. Okay, if you're familiar with SAFe, you already know that you need to prioritize. You need the product management need to know what they are going to ask or to propose to the agile release train that they built during the next PI. and somehow they need to be sure on what's the right amount of features they they will be presenting. Okay, and to do this they need to do this refinement. Okay, they start writing features, but they need to figure out how many of these features can fit into the next PI. So this is why they work together with the teams. They do estimations, but then they also have to prioritize because this is an input for the PA planning. The decision on how to prioritize these features and the decision on how many of the highest prioritized feature will be presented during the PA planning, this is something that needs to be done. Okay, and then now we're just for the first time jumping to one of the big pictures screens. Okay, to do this, we will have the help of, yeah, this is the screen. Okay, we will use the scope view of big picture solution with, okay, with a custom setup of the view to view specific columns that are specific custom fields where you can use the formula to prioritize that SAFe is recommending, this weighted shortest job first formula. Okay, and how we do this? We do this, okay, with an automation that will calculate automatically uh, the weight of the WSGF okay formula. Okay, so I don't have time to explain this formula. I hope you all know what this formula is about, but the idea is that you compare business value, which of these features has the least business value, then we choose a one for this for the feature with less business value, and then we start comparing the rest to this one. And we use Fibonacci series to apply values to this formula. Okay, so if this is a one, how much is this feature? Maybe this will be a five times the other one. Okay, we can set a five, and we assign the rest of the values. Okay, so um, time criticality. Which one is less critical? Is this is the least critical? Okay, if we think that this is also as critical as the lesser one, for instance, we can apply a one, and this is about risk reduction, okay, or opportunity enablement. So is this giving us risk reduction? Yes, a lot of risk reduction. Let's say this is an eight. And then the job size, the initial estimation on how big this feature will be. Okay, let's say this will be the smallest one. Okay, we can set a one for this. Okay, and once we do this, if you are, you can watch that this is automatically calculating this. Okay, this has been updated automatically. So now we have a 14. Okay, this is done with a mixture of automation and big picture. And yes, you can see that now the product managers can now order, they can sort this view by the WSJF value, and they will give an objective prioritization for the next PI. Okay, but we don't end here because they can say how many of these prioritized feature will fit into the next PI. Okay, so if they agree that these features can next in the next PI, but maybe this won't. Okay, you can just remove this. Okay, and then you are done with your prioritization. Okay, then now you have exactly uh, all the features that will be presented and that will be proposed during PI planning. Okay. So, okay, so this is the choice of the top 10 features. You need to do this. Product managers, with the collaboration of product owners and the teams, need to do this before going to PA planning. Okay, so this is what happens before PA planning. The choice of the so-called top 10 features don't need to be exactly 10. You might know this. They are called top 10 features, but they might be 8 or 12 or 15. Okay, depending on the nature of the features, or how many teams you have in your train. Maybe you will select more features, not only exactly 10. Okay, so I think it's clear now. If you have any questions, please write them down, and we will answer them later. Then we will jump to what happens during PA planning. Okay, and again, during PA planning, we start with the presentation of the product vision and business context, the top 10 feature, and the presentation of this architecture and standards. You already know the screens. These are the screens that we have been using. I have been presenting them before. Okay, so they are not highlighted because you already know these screens. So we will use Confluence and this top 10 features screen to present which features are the chosen ones. But then we start working. Okay, we start with the team breakouts during PA planning. And as you might already know, what you need to do, first of all, when product manager presents all the features, the teams are meant to go to ask the product manager, okay, give me this feature, we would like to implement it, we have the abilities, the capability to implement this. Okay, and then you assign this feature to your team. uh, Maybe you already know that you will be working on that because you have already been collaborating together with your product owner, with the product manager, and somehow maybe you already know that you will be working on that. But you start by taking your work, by having some work incoming, and by setting your capacity allocation. Okay, so you need to establish your team's capacity for each of the iterations. Okay, and the idea is that you express that capacity in terms of story points. How many story points will your team be able to deliver? There's an approach. If this is the first time you have a team working together, there's an approach, as per SAFe's recommendation, that you should set one story point per person per working day, assuming that you have only 8 working days per each iteration, because first day and the last day you will be involved in iteration planning, and you will have some refinements, and you will have the iteration review, system demo, iteration retrospective. So we only count 8 points per person per iteration, just to start, before you know what's your real capacity on, or how to use well your story points. So no matter if you already know your team's velocity, you use it. If you don't know, you use this approach. But no matter the method, you use this. This is the screen you will be using. Okay. This is the board view. I'm sure that Marcin will give a lot more details than me with this view. But one thing you can do with this view is to edit capacity. Okay, so you can edit. You can and you should edit the capacity for each of the iterations. You say how what is your capacity. Okay, you will be using this screen to show to show this is the planning board. But this is not only the planning board that SAFe says, where you only show features and dependencies, because this is more flexible. You can drag and drop work from the right side to the left side. and start placing some uh, user stories. Okay. Uh, so the team will use this board to figure out what is the best their best plan for to achieve their commitments for the PI. Okay, but we can apply filters. Okay, if you want this screen to be useful for the team to uh, mm, to have their plan with all of the details, then you show all of the items here. But once you are finished, maybe you will only like to show features and their dependencies. Okay, because you know that the planning board uh, is only about features and dependencies. Okay, if you want to go to the draft plan review, uh, we don't need the detail on all the user stories that the teams figured out. We only need the to watch the features and the major dependencies. Okay, and this is what we see here. If you see this green line, this is a major dependency. Okay, dependencies will be, Masin will also show this, but dependencies, this is green because this is uh, this dependency is set, is placed in the iteration previous to where this feature is meant to be finished. Okay, but if we move, um, okay, this user story to the next iteration, you will see that this color is changing because now it's orange. This means, okay, danger. Maybe you are committing some work that depends on other team, and maybe you will not be able to achieve this. Okay, so not only this line is yellow now or orange, but okay, this dependency is also um, shown in this color. Okay, and if we move to the right, this line will be shown as red. Okay, so this is mainly the tool we use to do this. This is a tool that the teams use to set their capacity, and yeah, and also uh, okay, to figure out what is their best plan, their best approach to achieve all or to meet with all the tasks um, for each of the features. Okay, of course, when we are doing estimates, this 8 here is the allocated work. That means that this user story has been estimated with 8 story points. If we add more work here, we will see how this line will be incrementing. Okay, and we are going to see in real time if we are overcommitting for each of the iterations. Okay, so okay, and one last thing regarding this screen is that now let's say we are seeing everything is in green color, sorry, gray color. This is because this has not been we didn't start yet with PI1. We are still during PI planning. Okay, and after PI planning is ended, or maybe even during PI planning, we can start this. Okay, when we start PI or an iteration, it changes the color, and when we close PI or each of the iterations, it again it changes the color. Okay, okay. So this is the tool we use not only for the team breakouts, but as you have seen, we can also use this tool as the planning board, and we use during the draft plan review. Okay, so same screen is very helpful to do a lot of things. Okay, so what are we missing? Okay, so very quick, only 5 minutes left. Uh, we need to at the end of the second team breakout, we need uh, assign the objectives. Okay, the iteration objectives for the iteration. Okay, and we also need to manage risks. So objectives, okay, we do have a screen where to write all the objectives for each of the teams. We can set this business value given by business owners from 0 to 10. And at the end of once the iteration is started, the PI is started. At the end of the PI, during the inspect and adapt event, business owner will be able to update with the actual business value at the end of the PI. Okay, then we will have two columns, not only one, and we can also tell the difference between the committed and uncommitted objectives by this the dashed line. Okay, so this is differentiating what is committed at what is uncommitted. Okay, so this is all you need to do SAFe. Okay, and also we do have a risk screen. Okay, when we can see, okay, so we can see uh, okay, we can see this way how likely the probability of any of the risk to happen. Okay, and this row we can see here which of the risks are still pending or they have already been classified as resolved, owned, accepted, or mitigated. Okay, and we can see this. This is also needed for the risk management review during PA planning. So with this screens, we have all we need for PA planning. Okay, so now very quickly, only 3 minutes left. Very quickly, we just need one more thing to help us during the execution. You know that teams, they have their team sync or daily standard is called team sync now in SAFe 6. Okay, and at train level, we have this agile release train sync. Okay, uh, we will use this is a simulation of again Geekbooks 2. We're simulating here that we have already the PI1 started and the iteration 1 started. So we have this in different color, and we can switch between this regular view. We can see, okay, the user stories that we are working on them, but we can just by clicking with this report view, we can see in very quickly how are we doing, how are we progressing, and we can use this, okay, to see how close we are, okay, or what how the amount of work that is still pending for a single iteration. And so this helps us to figure out if we are on track to meet with all the commitments or not. Okay, so uh, again, same window, same screen, only by clicking on this report, we can do a very quick follow-up. So forget about building PowerPoints or dashboards or stuff like that. Okay, with BigPicture, we have this on real time. We have this, okay, with this information. Okay, so we will use these screens during Agile Release Train Sync. And okay, and then again, just for you to know, I will let Marcin start, but just for you to know that at the end of the PI, we have this system demo, the inspect and adapt event, and we do have again in Confluence, we have a special place again to write information about anything needed for any system demo. If we need links for accessing any of the demo environments or anything we need, any data we need to run demos. We use Confluence to collect all this data, and in a predictable way, everybody will not be lost while seeking for this information. And the inspect and adapt, we can also use Confluence uh, to to find how are we going with this, with the evolution, with the of the value we are achieving. Okay, so we can build a graph as per SAFe recommendation, where we said how good, how what's the percentage of business value that we are achieving as a train, as or as teams, and this will be informed and can be consulted in conference. Okay, so iteration planning at team level, iteration review, iteration retrospective. This is the regular Scrum use of Jira, and maybe all of you already know this. And well, since this is Jira, gradually you can add a lot of more things. We can discuss them afterwards. This is just a start, a pragmatic start for to start with Jira. And as you know, just last minute, Jira, sorry, SAFe is not um, alone. Most of the times you live in a hybrid environment. And one of the big advantages this approach has is that you can make this launch of SAFe uh, be compatible with any other management way you already have during this hybrid period. Uh, but maybe Masin can explain this much better than me. So I am finishing with this, Masin. So your turn. Go deep dive into the big picture, and then we will go for the questions.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that. Just if I can ask you to stop sharing your screen so I can take over,
Yes, sorry.
It would help. No worries. Okay, so okay, I think you should be able to see my screen right now. So, well, welcome
Yes.
to Big Picture. You've heard Jose talking a lot about how the SAFe is being implemented. What are the procedures? What are the processes? What are the certain ceremonies which you go through? Certain artifacts which you're using. So, how Big Picture fits into this? No pun intended. Picture. So we can think about it as a additional tool that is providing you with simply functionalities, tools to perform those, to run those ceremonies, to execute those processes, to have a bit more of control, a bit more of ability to agility, sorry, in your day-to-day operations. So to simply make your life a bit easier, make your work simpler, quicker. So this is how Big Picture comes into your work and how it can make your life simpler. The generic layout or the concept of Big Picture is based on so-called boxes. So every line right now which you are seeing on the screen, it is called a Big Picture box. When you watch our videos, if you go through our documentation, you will definitely hear and read the word box a lot. So what is the box? Exactly like in real life, a container. A container for all of your Jira issues, all of your Jira resources, all of your estimations, all of your dependencies, all of the capabilities, skills which you have got at hand to perform the tasks. And Big Picture box simply allows you to, sorry to say, throw everything into the box, have a complete list of tasks, of issues you want to work with in a single place, and then by changing the so-called modules, have a different perspective, have a different view of those issues. A little bit of step into the portfolio management. So there are different box types or box templates, you can think about them, which are available for you. So you can see here, this is one of the things which Jose also mentioned, that when you are maybe already on your way to scaled Agile, so you've already started working Agile some time ago, right now you're moving up the ladder, but previously, it might be still the case that in your organization, there are still some teams which require a bit more of a classical approach to project runs, maybe a bit of mixed approach. So then Big Picture is allowing you to do that. As you can see, we've got predefined templates for so-called classic projects. So the ones which run in standard waterfall or PMP way, the hybrid ones which are mixing a little bit of elements from Agile, and standard. Then, of course, the small-scaled agile, typically based on Scrum principles. And then, for example, the SAFe art. How you start working? Very simply, you add the new from the top, or in case you've got already your specific box of portfolio, which is used simply for organizing your initiative. So I've got this solution train. I've got two projects in here. They run in parallel. They contribute both to the solution train. I can group them. In case anything else would be needed in here, I can simply create a new one directly in here. Already in here, I can start by selecting the Jira projects, which will be bringing tasks I want to concentrate on. I'm not going to do it right now because I want to show you how BigPicture is definitely much more flexible. So for example, let's go into my fruit salad. So, okay, I've got my list of tasks already. Okay, where those tasks are coming from. This is as simple as selecting the correct pieces or elements from your Jira instance where you know that you've got your issues you want to work with. As you can see, you can select and mix from tasks from different projects, from different boards, being it Scrum or Kanban. You can use any of existing Jira filters. So you can very easily mix, commingle tasks coming from your maybe a different team. Every of your teams that you are working with has got a dedicated Jira project. No problem. We just start bringing any of existing projects in here, any of existing boards, any of existing filters. Then the complete number of tasks is shown in the scope. You can also get rid of some of the things which potentially you don't want to have in your BigPicture box. You would just prefer to say, maybe I don't want to keep bugs in BigPicture. I will handle them in Jira exclusively. I can exclude them in here using the JQL. So this is when I decided that, okay, the tasks from the Apple project and from the Strawberry board, sorry for lack of ideas, but sometimes you run into a simple questions of how to name your tasks and issues. So you can see that they are already a bit organized. You might be asking yourself, how is this happening? But I've got my Apple Epic, which is consisting of Apple features, and in turns, the stories are underneath a feature. So this is a second functionality of BigPicture boxes. We've got so-called structure builders. So what is very important, BigPicture does not clone your data, does not copy your data, does not move it anywhere else. It is synchronizing with your data from your Jira instance. So BigPicture with Jira are acting as we call it, a single source of truth. It synchronizes the information, it exchanges the information, it does not copy it, it does not clone it. Whatever happens in BigPicture, whatever kind of change you implement, you reassign the task, you change the estimates, you change the priorities, then everything is synced back to Jira, and vice versa. If somebody still prefers to work in Jira, is performing their tasks, their work there, the changes that are implemented in Jira are, of course, reflected in BigPicture and visible to anybody who is working. So additional flexibility. Some people might prefer to have a new tool in place. They might enjoy the additional functionalities. Some people may feel very comfortable, very used to working in Jira, and they prefer to stay there. So coming back to the structure builders, as you can see, two types. One of them, the so-called built-in, the native functionalities coming from Jira. So we can organize based on the Epic, so the functionality of Epic with Epic Link. Then we can group by projects, we can group by versions, by components, by sprints as well. We can use the native parent relationship coming from Jira Cloud. And in case nothing fits your needs in here, then you can create any kind of issue link type in your Jira instance and use this one for creating the hierarchies, which will be visible in BigPicture, and also they can be visible on the Jira issue. So as you can see, I had some very specific ones for linking feature with epics, initiative with features. But right now, I've got a custom link which I've created, which is simply called hierarchy. And this is the one I'm using. So how this works in reality? Okay, let's use some examples. I've got a feature here. It's not associated to any epic. Okay, this one goes to Apple II. And you can see the field of epic link is already filled in just by dragging and dropping. Okay, I've also got some few let's call them freelance stories in here, those stories between 20 and 60. Let's imagine that they are all going to contribute to this feature, or maybe to feature number 3. Just selecting, dropping. Okay. Don't you just love the speed of Jira Cloud? Sorry, no pun intended. Okay, right now you see they are located in here. I've got a very nice structure of my tasks. But what happened in the background? If I navigate to any of those, of course, in the breadcrumb, I can see the epic. I can see the epic link, so I can see which strategic epic the story is contributing to. And I've got also the link created that this is contributing to my feature number 3. Of course, if I navigate to my feature, I will see the complete list of stories which are compiled into delivering my feature. So no need for creating the links in here directly. Of course, if I would create a new story and link it in here, it will be reflected on the task structure later on. But the easiest way, just create the stories. You can do it straight away in here. Apple. Okay, I want a new story. Okay, I have the places selected in the structure, so it was created already in here. So as you can see, it's already created with the predefined features, the predefined details, which allow me to trace it also back to Jira. So this is how we start working with. This is also the place which we can use for our backlog grooming. Pepe was showing this example, for example, of evaluating our features, which ones we have to concentrate on. So I don't have the automation in place, but I've got just the manual field in here, which is called WSGIF, weighted shortest job first. I can also very quickly use a filter. I want to see only my higher level tasks, epics, and features. I can expand all of them. I can decide which one. Depending, there is a number of ways how you can calculate WSGIF, a number of formulas, number of different add-ons which you can use for that. Then, in case you might be running it even externally, and then just input it, and then you say, okay, this one has got the highest number for my ranking. This is the one which should get the top priority. I'm inputting it into my first PI. Then, in order to accomplish this one, perhaps the second one is also critical, so that's why it's assigned to PI1 as well. In here, a very nice and very easy work to be done in case of grooming your backlog, in case of editing, changing the details. In Jira, you would normally have to either use the bulk update features or navigate issue by issue, changing the details. BigPicture also makes this one a bit easier for you because we've got the so-called inline editing. So if I decide, okay, somebody started working here, just a double click like in Excel. You want to change the priority, double click. You want to change the story points estimate. It's not 2, it's 5. Done. The epic link, the labels, they are visible in here. Of course, we can decide which details we would like to see. We can always get rid of some of the columns if we don't need them. We can specify any, almost any of the existing Jira fields. So we can populate them in here, bring them into the view. In case when we are using multiple sets of information frequently, we can save them and very quickly switch between one to another. Maybe more related to teams, or maybe back to our SAFe detail views. Few additional functionalities. This is a little bit, again, related maybe to work tracking, to progress tracking. So as you can see right now, I've got the statuses of my tasks. I've got my story points, but if for most of the columns, especially with the numeric values, with estimates, with statuses, BigPicture is providing you with option to use aggregations and provide them straight away in here. So I can clearly see, okay, I've got a number of stories contributing to my feature. Out of them, 50% are still in to-do statuses, 20 are in progress, 30 are done. I can do the same also for story points, so I can compare. Okay, I've got more or less 30% of my work done based on a number of tasks. But I can see, okay, based on the effort of story points, those were relatively smaller ones. So, okay, I'm not as advanced as I think I might be. So I can get already in here the first indication of a progress. Then, of course, we are moving to the board module, which Jose was showing. So this is where we're coming. We've got our teams, the teams which are created in here in our module. We can specify the Scrum boards where the team's sprints might be located, so it speeds up the sync process. We are able to specify the members. We are able to specify their membership periods, and we are also able to say, okay, we know it's quite common. People have to split their times between different activities. So I can specify, okay, I'm working in my Green Apples team for this release train, but I'm available only for 50% of my time. And this is then reflected in the capacity which is shown in here. Apple Green, as you can see, okay, BigPicture is calculating it based on the total number of days, but this can be also amended. And right, as you can see, I'm available only for 5 story points instead of 10, which are the typical setup. For example, if I would say that somebody like in here, my colleague, is available full-time working in a strawberry team. And of course, as we know, this automatic calculations, which are done by BigPicture in the background based on the working days, holidays, people's working plans, and their availability in the individual teams. These are the predefined, the calculated versions. But after we get familiar, we know that, okay, I can see that maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm very good at work. I can deliver more than 5, even though I can deliver 7. As you can see, it's rolled up in order to enable you to track those changes more easily. You can see the solid line indicates that my base capacity was 5 story points, but that was changed manually to 7. This one with a dashed line is indicating base was recalculated because somebody changed my capacity for the sprint 1.3. And then back to the board. So we've got a number of tasks in here. Okay, right now, not much visible because of a compact layout. Very helpful in case you want to see the exact number of tasks, in case you've got a huge number of those, then you can, squeeze definitely much more of them. In case you prefer to see more details, we can switch to regular view. And pretty similar as in other modules, you can select what kind of details you would like to see. So in this case, we are seeing the story point equivalent, the epic links, the sprint that the tasks are aligned to, in which they are being worked on. We are also able to take a look at it from the whole PI perspective. So these are all of the tasks which are assigned to my Green Apple team during the whole PI. Of course, if I would have the next iteration planned, I would add more tasks. Of course, the collection on the PI level would be increasing as well. Of course, we are able to see that right now we are in, this is a today's marker. We are in iteration 1.2. This one is finalized. And of course, we are very much interested in tracking dependencies, how we can impact once another's work. So yeah, there you go. And I think Pepe already explained. So the color coding gives us a hint. Green means, okay, potentially no conflict. You've planned the dependent task into the later phase of your project compared to the originator of the dependency. If the amber is, if the arrow is amber, it means it's scheduled for the same time period. So in case somebody might be delaying the delivery of this story, we are facing that this one might be, we might need to move it to the next sprint. And let's see. And this might be causing problems for me because I don't have a capacity for the sprint. Right now, I've got a lot of free space because I was not able to work, but in here, I'm running into problems. So it means that probably I would have to get rid of some of the tasks in here, maybe reassign them to my another team, which has got some spare capacity. But looking at the story points in here, I will not be able to squeeze it. I've just got 3 spare points, let's call it, and I'm exceeding here by 4. So most probably I will have to move it out to my backlog. Okay, I've got 70% capacity, and the story right now is located in here. You can see that some of the tasks are marked in green, some of the tasks don't have this background. This shows me that the tasks which have got green background, they've been already assigned to one of the time boxes, which means they have been planned. I don't have to worry about them. They are somewhere already in here. So right now, okay, I've got some spare capacity in here. Maybe I can allocate. Okay, I've got 5 versus 14. Okay, maybe I can still manage to squeeze this one in here. Looks good. No red dependencies. You might have noticed that the value of the sprint appeared automatically. So what is one of the main advantages of this tool compared to a standard Jira Scrum board? So we've got 3 teams. Each of them is working on their Jira board. Even within a single project, I've got 2 boards for my individual teams. And those teams, those boards, those sprints are being synchronized. So it means, again, coming back to the original concept, BigPicture synchronizes with Jira. Doesn't matter. Some teams might prefer to do their sprint planning in Jira. They might prefer to do the planning process, the meeting there. They assign tasks to selected sprints. Then, based on this synchronization settings, everything is also visible on the board. So if I would right now, okay, we've got iteration 1.4, and let's go to one of the issues which still does not have a sprint value. Okay, and this is a strawberry. Okay, so let's add it to, strawberry sprints, and just let me double check. Okay, strawberry S12. Okay, strawberry S12. Sorry, any of those? No sprint. I'm working in Jira purely. I've selected the sprint. This is the sprint I'm going to work in. I even didn't have to reload the screen. The bot module works in live sync. The task is appearing in here. It's showing in calculations. It's showing in work progress. I can switch either to show me the capacity allocation. I can check the work progress as well. So I can see, okay, 13% in this sprint already finalized. Okay, the strawberry team has done a good job. They've already completed one of the tasks. In case I prefer more visual, I can switch to reports. I can see in a bit more visual way. So in a nutshell, this board, the BigPicture board, allows you to track progress, track work, maybe plan even work of more than one team in a single place. You don't have to navigate from one Jira board to another. You don't have to switch. You don't have to compare different things. You've got everything laid out in one screen, of course, including, for example, the team dependencies, which are very nice to keep track of.
Okay. Is that all, Marcin?
Well, in a nutshell, when it comes, of course, we've got the flexibility for adding new tasks directly in here. So the board module can also be used, for example, for PI planning. So let's imagine that we move to the PI level. You can see that the backlog also changes. So right now, if I would create any of new tasks in here, maybe I will create a new strawberry feature. I don't know the numbering, but okay. Okay, the strawberry feed has been successfully created. It appeared in here. No details yet. But right now, yeah, create one. As you can see, BigPicture is helping me. So, okay, I don't want as many of those. I just want one of them. Create. I've got the iteration. If I'm, sorry, right now, if I move to just the, okay, just one sprint, you can see right now, BigPicture is also helping me with narrowing down the backlog. Right now, I've got the full program backlog, everything which is in here, of course, with exclusion of the planned tasks. But right now, I can switch and I can see the tasks which I have during the PI planning, which we agreed that these
Mhm.
are the things we're going to concentrate and work in here. So then
Yeah.
I've got definitely a shorter list. Then, of course, I can start planning, for example, adding new tasks directly in here, adding new tasks directly in here. So I don't even have to move out from BigPicture to create some things in Jira. And
Okay.
just a
Sorry.
last thing, whenever we are interested, so of course we've got the reporting. So we can, on our art level, we can, for example, track the team dependencies. So we can see, okay, seems like the team red versus team green has got the biggest number of activities cross team. We can have a minimalistic view of our risk matrix. I've got it configured slightly different with just 3 levels of probability. We can track our team's velocity for the sprints. So it can be, after a while, you can use this one for determining your actual team velocity. It does not necessarily have to be 10 of nominal planned versus 9 delivered. It can be exceeding. Then we've got this blue line, which is showing us the trend. So we can use those ones. We can track all of the things. We can create any reports. So this is BigPicture Enterprise, so it's a bit extended. In BigPicture, you've got the standard, the 3 top ones. Those ones, the bottom ones, are BigPicture Enterprise. You can add any of those. We can change the content of any of those. So if I prefer to have statuses, okay, the statuses we will not be able to add, but maybe. So this is the status of SNE just by task. This is this is showing on in story points already. So I can really tailor down the information which might be useful for me and present it in here. So for any kind of retro, any kind of sprint reviews, exactly like Pepe said, forget about PowerPoints, just come into the picture and you've got all the information in ready. And it is synchronized with your Jira in lifetime. So if you navigate anywhere, I know the agile teams hate the word Gantt, but nevertheless, okay, we've got the timeline. There are some nice features which allow you to okay, so you can see that my stories, the ones which have got the value of the sprint, they are very neatly aligned to my iterations. This is another functionality which allows you to use the Gantt chart as a roadmap. So once you start planning all of your stories, then the features are getting scheduled automatically, and you can see what might be the potential timeline of delivering even the big epics. And of course, you've got the live status, live progress expressed in here coming from your corresponding Jira issues.
Okay, Marcin. So that's awesome. Okay, a very comprehensive demo. And yes, we do have several questions. Maybe we can use, let's say, we'll try no more than 10 minutes to answer them all. Yeah, I bet you will like the first one. The first one says, is this the same as Jira Align? If not, what are the differences? Okay, I will let Marcin
Oh,
answer to this question, but from my perspective from TecnoFor, I will speak on the voice of my customer, my clients. Okay, first of all, I will say that they will have to pay way more if they chose Jira Line. So this
yeah,
is first economic reason, and then I let Marcin go for
yeah,
the rest of the technical.
yeah. There is a number of solutions on the market in the Atlassian environment which have got similar, sometimes a bigger set of features, sometimes a smaller set of features. To name just a few, apart from BigPicture and Jira Align, so there is a structure coming from ALM Works. There is, of course, the native Jira Advanced Roadmaps. So those are the, let's call them PPM tools. Coming to the question about Jira Align versus Big Picture, I would call that Jira Align is a real behemoth. It's the biggest solution there is on the market. It's got the biggest amount of functionalities of features. Yet, as exactly as Jose, you mentioned it, it comes at a cost. It's also the most pricey solution. I would say that potentially for really huge organizations, they might be very satisfied with Jira Line with all of the functionalities. I think that Big Picture is a little bit easier to digest, easier to be working in for the companies which are still transforming. So one functionality which I've mentioned in the beginning, uh, Big Picture is able to handle classical project methodologies like PMP2, like Prince, like Waterfall, the hybrid approach, small scale agile, large scale agile, scaled agile framework. So it's really, I would say, it is probably one of the most flexible solutions on the market. Jira Align, like I said, really a complex solution. I was watching a number of demos. I was attending a number of webinars. Well, you have to learn your competition, right? And I must say, quite often we hear from our customers that Big Picture is a little bit complex in the beginning, especially to start working. It's got a lot of configuration, but believe me, Big Picture when it comes in terms of configuring, in terms of starting the work, is nothing compared to Jira Line.
Yeah, I do agree with that. Okay. Uh, our job in TecnoFor is to configure solutions based in Jira and Big Picture, and we can say without being afraid of being wrong that we can just start safe implementation in just 2 weeks, and you forget then about about the tool. That this is the point of the approach of the solution, and this is why we chose Big Picture. Okay. So there's another question, some comments that was copied from the chat by Santi, from Nicolo Orlando. I don't know if he's still here with us. I understand that we have to build a portfolio from a business and stakeholders perspective instead of a merely technical one. I'm not sure if I understand this question. Yeah, I don't know if Nicolo is here. If Okay, Santi, I need help. Okay, I don't understand this question, so I will jump to the following from Maria. I guess the feature are linked to the portfolio epics, uh, and you can follow this relationship in Jira, right? Yeah, of course. Yes.
Yeah. So this was exactly this thing I was showing that. Okay, I've got this new feature which I have created. So if I right now you can see. Okay. Sorry, wrong module. Yeah. Okay, so you can see the epic link is still not there, but if I just drag and drop it, so in this case, the epic link is updated. Then, if I, for example, made a mistake in my planning and one of those stories is not contributing to this feature number 2, but I can imagine this one is contributing to this newly created feature number 5 right now. Refresh. And right now, so this is, if we navigate to this story right now, you can see that the link is leading us to the feature number 5, not the feature number 1 or 2, which it was linked underneath earlier. So yeah, exactly.
Yeah, of course. And as you said before, there's a single source of truth. So everything you do through this interface will be reflected on a change on the actual Epic link or on the
On an epic
in the
link,
future.
on a parent, on parent
Mhm.
information, on this issue links, which I'm using in this exact case. So yeah, exactly.
So another question for Maria: how do the teams visualize their work? Do they have an agile release train board, a team board, both? How does it work in large configurations? Okay, answering from my side, what I showed and I told you that you can use that screen for many purposes, as the planning board, and that can help the teams figure out their planning. Okay, you can use this the screen that Marcin is showing now. You can use the other one, the board one. But if you want, you can filter in that screen. You can filter just your team. Okay, so you can make that screen have only your features or your epics. You can ignore the rest uh, of the things. But I have to say that this is compatible with any other uh, screen from regular Jira outside BigPicture. Okay, so if you have your team board, you can use it in parallel. So changes in your team board will be reflected in BigPicture and likewise. Okay, so now,
Yeah, you can think about it that, for example, a team board. So exactly the Scrum board on your project in Jira when your team is working, for example, we can think about this one as a team board. But if it's synchronized to a board which is created like here, then of course we've got this option. For example, okay, I'm not interested in looking at all teams. I'm interested only in looking at my team, for example. Yeah, I've got just one swim lane right now. I can use the filtering option. So either the predefined quick filters, like I want to see stories only right now. I can use any of search filters of any of searches by text. So looking for summary, looking for descriptions, or I can type in additional GQL if I've got the information about, I don't know, maybe the functional area or my team stored anywhere in any field in Jira. I can narrow this down. For example, then this backlog will show me only the items which I'm really interested in. So we can think about this as a flexible approach that it can work as a single team board, but at the same time, if we decide, okay, let me show everything, I can have a better understanding of how the work is spreading across multiple teams, and we can think about it as an agile release train board.
yeah, right. So there are still a few questions. I guess we cannot use more than still 3 or 4 minutes. We go really fast. Does this tool have automations to, for example, when all the feature of an epic are done, the epic card is also moved to done? I will answer this one. This is Jira, so you can create any automation. Okay, you can do that. We could discuss if this is really a good idea or not, because there could be some situations where this would be not a good idea, but definitely you can do that. So the answer is yes. What is the price? I will let this to. Uh, I mean, with the price, you mean the license, okay? Uh, Maybe if you are interested in this, we can give. Uh, okay, so from TecnoFor, we are platinum partners, and the price that we can give, not only for Jira but also for AppFire, and we can give you the best prices. Okay, it depends on how many users you have or how many licenses you have in your Jira instance. So since it depends, I cannot give you the answer, but definitely you can write to TecnoFor and we can give you this the answer to this question. So from Javier La Peña, maybe this can be on the last one. Sorry for the rest. I'm doing automations in Jira, and my question is, can we extend the automations of a certain project and scale it up to epic level features that are treated in the PI more details in comments of this? Okay, sorry, I'm not sure if I'm understanding. Okay, again, I'm doing automations in Jira. My question is, can we extend the automations of a certain project, the automations of a certain project, and scale it to epic level features that are treated in the PI? I'm not sure if I am understanding this question, Marcin. I don't
Okay,
know.
I've located also the additional comments. So there is an example of dependency created between two teams, then to create a spike in the previous iteration to indicate it and to have additional dependencies. Well, Big Picture does not offer such automation. Uh, However, it is more using, I call it always, that Big Picture is capable of using almost everything what is present on your Jira instance. What I mean under almost, there are certain exceptions that, for example, some of the plugins, some of the another add-ons, they are creating a bit of their custom embedded field, which sometimes might not be recognizable by Big Picture. Some functionalities might not be used. But in case you find any other add-on, for example, that will trigger an automation whenever a dependency is created. If a dependency is created in the form of an issue link, which is mapped to Big Picture, then the automation probably will pick up the creation, regardless of whether it will be done on the Jira issue level or by
Okay.
dragging and dropping.
Okay. So we have to finish here. So thank you so much, Marcin, for sharing this session with me. Thank you to everyone for being here today with us. Remember that this session is being recorded, so we will make it available for everyone. So you can reach us if you have any more doubts or concerns regarding Big Picture or SAFe For Jira. So see you next time, Marcin.
Thank you very much, Pepe.
Thank you very much. Have a good day. See you.
Thank you very much, all.